If you are joining us for the first time, hello and welcome. If you are a returning supporter and friend, welcome back. This is Unboxing Economics. Today we'll be taking a look at the rebuttals of both sides of the debate of the Aboriginal voice to Parliament. This referendum will take place on the 14th of October 2023. Please note this video is part of a series and I absolutely recommend you go and watch the videos on this channel outlining the Yes campaign, the No campaign and a full reading of the bill. First we'll look at the No campaign. Argument number one, that the voice will separate Australians based on race. This is probably the most common and widespread no vote argument or talking point. Put simply, the voice does not separate anyone. Not separating is more like giving a very minor preference. It would only be separating if the powers the voice had detracted or distracted the Parliament from receiving advice from other Australians based on race, and of course this absurdity is not the case. Certain comparisons of an apartheid-style Australia, making reference to the historical injustices in South Africa, are absurd and offensive. Argument number two, matters relating to Aboriginal Australians. There is concern from the No camp that any topic could be fodder for the voice to advise on, again distracting and clogging up government process. The nature and scope of topics the voice is to be concerned with is a matter for the voice, not the Parliament, not the government of the day. This is part of the point, part of the reason things have not worked in Aboriginal affairs recently. It is the prescription of policy with little or ineffective consultation with Aboriginals. Argument 3, details on presentations. No campaigners are concerned about the lack of detail. Again, less prescription is the point. How the voice is to conduct itself and staff itself are issues for the voice to determine as a separate entity. Agility and understanding at a grassroots level is the point of the voice. Many no voters appear to be gleeful in their ignorance. A mantra of sorts of, if you don't know, vote no, appears to be gathering steam. Perhaps a less catchy but more virtuous position might be that if you don't know, find out. Is enough detail if you wish to find out. For the Parliament to legislate how an independent entity were to function would be a problematic contradiction in terms. Argument number 4. In a healthy and functional democratic system, any specific Aboriginal voice to Parliament shouldn't be necessary. In short, it shouldn't, but it is. Any closing of any gap has still plenty of work to do. Normal government intervention of a Westminster nature has not worked. A different approach appears to be necessary, which is the very function the voice would provide for. Argument number 5, the mundane compromise. A brief recap. The mundane compromise was a process where the Parliament could legislate the voice into existence and then later, after an appropriate time frame, enshrine the voice into the Constitution through a more informed referendum vote. Whilst the good middle ground, this strategy could lead to confusion, with many isolated examples of voice projects potentially muddying the waters for a future referendum vote. This was similar to the case in the Republic vote in 1999, where the vote was split between monarchists, yes voters, and Republicans that didn't like the presented format. More information, whilst typically better, does tend to split the vote in referendums historically. Another reason for simplicity of the voice, some might mistake for lack of detail. Now to the rebuttals of the Yes campaign. Argument number 1, recognition. One could argue that plenty has already been done and is currently ongoing. The content of any treaty in truth would not be news to any adult Australians. If you want to argue that such history should be taught in schools, then sure. But most Australians understand the current place Aboriginal Australians have in Australian modern society and the atrocities of the past. Many prominent events have a welcome to country. A reconciliation week is a fixture in most corporate, education and social calendars. Many places, suburbs and locations and events have original native names as an homage of sorts. Plenty of recognition is already paid, and appropriately so, to to Aboriginal Australians. A voice might not advance this cause more than any current trajectory. Argument number 2, reconciliation. Again, plenty is already being done. A voice would not further such a case. It could detract from it, especially if having an entity of the voice may act as a catalyst for less action to be taken by both NGOs and individuals. Argument number 3, enshrinement in the Constitution. The Yes campaign contends that constitutional enshrinement of the voice, the entity, and an acknowledgement of Aboriginals is a good, solid step forward as a nation and would be a grand gesture of goodwill. However, as it could merely be a symbolic gesture, why not have a mention in the preamble only? A mention in the Constitution, preamble, or the body could occur without the voice. Moreover, as mentioned in the Mundine Compromise, the voice can exist without constitutional inclusion. The rebuttal to this part is that ensuring the voice in the Constitution is not only a matter of recognition, it does mean that no future government will merely be able to repeal the voice, the organisation. This gives the voice, the organisation, and the community confidence in its permanency and its ability to evolve over time to change with the needs of Aboriginal Australians. This would ensure that the voice would not become another ATSIC, which was dissolved by the government of the day in 2005. From a strategy point of view, the Yes campaign needs to push the idea of change being both revolutionary to Aboriginal Australians, whilst at the same time is tame and harmless to other government, business, finance, and the public. A tough ask. The Yes campaign needs to have people take notice, have an opinion, and have that opinion be sympathetic. Again, a tough ask. The No campaign, from a strategy point of view, have it much easier. It's far easier to find fault with something than be in support. The old adage of it being easier to pull something down than build something up. This is especially true with referendum questions. Putting aside any fear-mongering, misinformation, disinformation, social media has been both wonderful and terrible simultaneously at giving people access to information, and this referendum will be the first during the social media-led era. There is no problem with a cautious approach, especially when it comes to constitutional matters, and then have the positive case prove itself worthy. However, this tactic could encourage passivity or worse, laziness. The No campaign have appealed to fear, apathy, prejudice, and to somehow make a lack of knowledge seem patriotic. The risks presented by the No campaign are either minuscule or non-existent. The cost of a no result could be massive, wide-ranging, and long. A quick note on the vote. Whatever the outcome, whatever your position, make sure you fulfill one of the very few and easiest to comply civil responsibilities, and that is to participate in the vote. Encourage others to do so, have conversations, be party to the communities that you are involved with. Clarify and contend your arguments and premises, and have others do the same to you. If you are having uncomfortable conversations, good. If others are making you uncomfortable about your positions, good. To avoid a John Farnham copyright issue, I'll leave you with one of my favourite Churchill quotes, a very Australian discussion, to be closed out by an Englishman. It is, quote, "For my part, I consider that it will be found much better by all parties to leave the past to history, especially as I propose to write that history myself." Ladies and gentlemen, I will be voting yes. I encourage you to do the same. This has been Unboxing Economics. Please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.